Okay, welcome to MJT's Wycombe Wanderers Plus. And here we go with Chairboys Chat. And would you believe, Kieran, this is number 13, mate. So there
We're
you
making it there.
13. And of course, the first thing that we need to mention is how well Wycombe got on Saturday. Okay, and the score was 7-2 to Brentford. I've done my little chit chat afterwards for about 4 minutes, maybe a bit longer, while I sobbed in between.
I was going to say it was one of the longer ones.
Yeah, I think it was the crying that probably did that. Okay, so you tell me you saw the highlights. Let's start with
I did.
What did you think to our friend's goal, his first one? Well, it wasn't his first one, but the first one.
His only one.
Out of the two.
It was a fantastic goal. I mean, you can't say it wasn't. In terms of attacking, we seemed to do pretty decently. Scored 2 goals against Brentford, which is no mean feat away from home.
Yeah.
And I suppose if we had the normal defence we did, and we scored 2 goals, we'd expect to get something from the game.
You would.
Unfortunately, it didn't really turn out that way in the second half, did it? Where it may have been due to, that fourth goal, their penalty being a bit of a referee mistake. It was pretty trash, that referee mistake. But then again, it's
referee when you have mistake.
Yeah, but when you have such a
interesting comment, a mistake. Well, I think the bloke didn't have a clue how to referee.
I mean, I wouldn't have seen the rest of the match, so I don't know whether he got lots of other things wrong.
He wasn't biased. He wasn't biased in any form or fashion. He just every time. He just seemed to sort of every now and again, if 2 players went into a tackle or something, he'd decide sometimes it was a free kick and sometimes it wasn't. And I don't think he had a clue. No. I really don't. I don't think he understood the idea of a foul or not a foul. I think he hasn't read the paperwork. And I think he just literally blew up for some and not for others. I don't mean to sort of, I know everybody has a go at referees, but I don't think he was biased. Just didn't have a clue. No.
But in terms of the rest of the kind of performance, Darius, bless him, he's flipping old. He may have played 1 or 2 games prior to the 2 that he's played this week against Spurs and Brentford. It just doesn't look pacey or strong enough, or just quick in sort of his decision making to be able to keep up with anything. So I think, unfortunately, in terms of the circumstances, we were never going to get anything from it. But it can probably give us a few positives in that our attacking play was good, and we did score 2 goals. And if we had our normal team, then we could have got something from the game. But in saying that, we are kind of running out of games, and other teams are picking up points. So,
right, exactly, because Derby won. Sheffield Wednesday also won. Rotherham did lose. But like you say, the other teams around us are doing fine. They're picking up the occasional point here and there, and we are not. We're now, in my personal opinion, out of reach. Is it? We need something like about 11 points to get out of the bottom 3, don't we? Something like that.
You say that, but what was it? 3 weeks ago, before we had our kind of COVID outbreak, we were going to come up against all these teams nearer the bottom who we could pick up points against, and because we haven't played those matches, we seem to have been kind of left behind. And so since you said, and probably I said, that we could make out of there, the only team we played against is against Brentford, and I don't think we can really judge it off that. And if we do get Papazoli and Jacobson and Obita in the team and playing decently again, then who knows? But it does seem a bit of a stretch anyway.
It does. We are 11 points behind Nottingham Forest, but with 2 games in hand. It's them we've got to catch. I mean, forget Rotherham and Sheffield Wednesday, and even Derby. I mean, Derby are now 18th. They've moved up the table. They are only 2 points above Nottingham Forest. But Birmingham, who we play on Tuesday, have got 27 points. They are one of the teams that we need to catch, really.
It is a must-win on Tuesday, to be fair. You just
it is. It is
at home as well.
Yeah. I mean, Rotherham have got 8 points more than us, and they've played the same amount of games. So I do think we're now getting a bit left behind and running out of games. No reason to stop trying, but I think we are in a bit of a pickle down there. Nottingham Forest, Birmingham, Queen's Park Rangers, all these teams are sort of 26, 27, 28, and we've got 15.
It doesn't look good, for certain.
It doesn't, because really, when you look at the form guide, you need them to be picking up no points at all, those teams. And in fact, those teams are doing all right. In the last 6 games, if you look at those teams, Sheffield Wednesday have got 13 points out of the last 6 matches. Derby have got 12 points out of the last 6 matches. Forest have picked up 9 points out of the last 6 matches. Rotherham 7, Birmingham 5, and you go down to 23rd, which is Wycombe's, which is 4. So in fact, a lot of those teams are doing all right, thank you, out at the moment. Wycombe aren't. And some of them have picked up some players as well over this last couple of weeks. The worst team is Cardiff at the moment. But they're not somebody that we're going to catch or take over, really.
I don't think they're really in any trouble anyway.
And here's your interesting one. Guess who else is down the bottom 3 apart from Wycombe and Cardiff? The other one is Bournemouth. How about
I was going to say Bournemouth, actually.
They've only picked up 4 points as well in the last 6 matches. They are having a nightmare of a time at the moment. And they, I think, are going to struggle. They are going to struggle to get in that top 2, to get out. Norwich at the moment they're coming top with 54 points. And then you've got Swansea and Brentford, 50 and 48. And Bournemouth have got 42. They're 8 points behind Swansea. I cannot see them getting in the top 2. And it's going to be an interesting. So Watford and Bournemouth, they're going to end up in the playoffs at best, which is interesting. I think Norwich are away with it, but there you go.
I think one of them had to drop out because Brentford have been expecting to go up for a while now, haven't they?
Yeah, I think they're top of the table for the last 6. They haven't lost a game for 17 matches.
No.
Brentford. And Swansea aren't far behind them on that list either. So I think they're in trouble, though. Bournemouth and Watford, I think they're going to be lucky. Well, Bournemouth can be lucky to get in the playoffs, let alone anything else. That'll be a frightening thought for them, won't it? Because they were expecting to go straight back up again. Couple of little points that the first thing I want to say in this little bit, because there's, we mentioned a little while ago about Rochdale, was that last week, about their scoring records, about having, what a great team to go and watch because of the quantity of goals that they score. They did another one, didn't they? Was it a sort of a 3-2 or a 4-3? Since December, in the 11 games they've played, they've scored 26 goals and they've let in 27.
Mm.
And that's in the last 11 matches. It was 3-4 again on Saturday. I mean, that it's on average 5 goals a game. I mean, mind you, Wycombe's aren't doing. I mean, we seem to, at the moment, we're letting in 4 goals a game, aren't we, or more on average, something like that. Absolutely desperate we are at the moment. And the other figures that I picked up, which I think this is great. Coach trip, Plymouth. Not Saturday, but the previous 3 games were all away that they had, from a Wednesday, Saturday to a Wednesday. Okay, and they were all away games from Plymouth. They had a round trip to Sunderland on the Wednesday of 800 miles. On the Saturday, they had a round trip to Sheffield United, 572 miles. And then on the Wednesday again, it was a round trip to Swindon of 320 miles. So in a week, they travelled 1,700 miles in a coach to play 3 matches of football. Can you imagine that?
Wasn't there one of the managers who had to go because they played like twice in 3 days or something as well way back when?
Yeah, that wasn't him.
Was that like the Swansea manager or something?
Yeah, that's right. It was the Swansea manager we discussed last week. But Plymouth, can you imagine 1,700 miles coach in a week?
That's the point. That's the point. I'm comparing the two. It's just like the thing about Plymouth have got it bad.
I mean, I can't bear the thought coming to bloody Portsmouth from Wycombe there and back in a day, you know? And that is just... And then we're expecting them to play a decent game of football. I don't know which ones of those they won. My guess is against Sunderland, it'd be 1-1, judging by the numbers of 1-1s they get. I don't know. I could look it up, but I shan't. And coming back to your thing about how old Charles is, what about age, Kieran? Footballers. Jagielka, is that Jagielka?
Jagielka.
Yeah, sorry. Played for Sheffield United against Manchester United.
And
he's 38 and had a brilliant game. How old is old? How young is young? And when do you think is the perfect age? Because all I hear is he's very young at the moment, or he's very old. So, how old is too old? We'll start with that one.
I mean, it is position based, isn't it? The older you get, the further pushed back you go. So if you've got your attacking midfielder, let's use, or just any midfielder in general, you can use Fernandinho or Mascherano or Henderson even now apparently. You can go from further positions up the pitch where probably like the optimal is about 27, 28. You can go into centre back at the age of 32, 33 and still do as decent a job as anyone. Goalkeepers can.
Yeah, goalkeepers are always the oldest.
Goalkeepers I mean, you got Buffon who's 42, I think now, and still playing for Juventus somehow. So I think they've always said that the optimal for a goalkeeper is 30 sort of age. Beyond that, then they kind of start to deteriorate and not be able to move as quick, but they always still seem to do a job. Striker, it seems to be a lot more difficult to keep up with it at older age. They seem to get injured a bit more as well. Aguero, for example, like he's only 32, maybe 33, but he's slowed down massively in the last year or two, hasn't he?
Yeah.
As do most strikers. I mean, Rooney had to be shoved back into centre mid, didn't he? He wasn't able to cut it up front. So it is position based, whether people can hack it or not.
Right. So that talks about old. What about young? Who's too young to play? I mean, when do you say, you know, they don't have enough experience? I mean, Wycombe have got the centre back.
Knight, yeah.
I mean, he's what?
Messi as well.
Yeah, I mean, they're 19.
Knight might be 20, I think. 2021.
I mean, is he still young? Or isn't that's
still young, but I'd say below the age of, if you're having to play an 18-year-old, then I don't think that's particularly great. 19, if they're good enough, then that's fine.
So what about the Liverpool lineup when he's bringing in youngsters? At what point are they no longer youngsters and they're a part of the team?
The thing is, for top level footballers these days anyways, you have to get in pretty early to even consider being given a chance. Like, if you're getting to the age of 21, 22 and you're not in the first team, you'll never be in the first team. It has to be at the ages of 18, 19.
Yeah.
Like, if you've got Curtis Jones at Liverpool, for example, if you're getting to 21, 22, then you're off. You're off to the Championship. If you're a Premier League youngster at the age of 21, 22, any Championship team will take you. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to even be able to say a number because Mbappe was flipping 17 and was tearing up Liga when Monaco won the league in like 2016 or 7. But he was still very much good enough.
So I guess almost, if you like, the perfect age, not that it's a real perfect age, but an age where it's acceptable for you to be in the team. Everybody will shut up about him being too young or he's a young player, and you should be in the prime, would be about 24, 25.
Yeah.
You've picked up experience. You've got a few years left on you, because it surprised me with the whole sort of transfer market. They're talking about, you know, how many years they've got left and do they want to take them at the age of 30 because he'll only have so many years left. And I'm thinking, well, if you're only looking for your last club at the age of 30 and you're very young at the age of 18, that gives you 12 years. And so when are you worth the most? It's got to be about 24.
Yeah, probably about 24. Maybe even 22, something like that. Because as long as you can definitely show that you have the potential to be incredible, then probably about 22, 23. You don't have, I think in the top 10, like, most valuable players or whatever, I don't think there's anyone above the age of 28, 29, really. Because Messi and Ronaldo aren't in it, and you would obviously expect them to be in it.
You would.
But they are 34, 36 sort of thing now, so.
Okay. The last subject before looking at the teams individually is team captains. Now, Wycombe, obviously our left back captain, ended up off the pitch. He wasn't on Saturday. We'd got Akinfenwa, captain, not on the pitch. It's missing all our captains, weren't we?
Escape, yeah.
Therefore, what do you need in a captain? Well, this is what I quickly printed out. I quickly say this: what people were looking for in a football team captain. Mentally strong, excellent communicator, emotionally disciplined, so they don't lose it, basically, knows the other players in his team, and is self-confident. Okay? Let's give them marks out of 10. Okay, this is the Premier League. Aubameyang. Yeah, I'm going to have real trouble with this.
Yeah, I know you are.
Arsenal, Aubameyang. Any good as a captain? So what does he not have? Is he mentally strong?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, yeah. Excellent communicator. Well, is it a good position to be in anyway?
I mean, he's a left winger, isn't he? I can't imagine he can't really, depict things from the centre midfield or centre back sort of thing.
No,
and I can't imagine. I suppose at Arsenal they have a lot of languages there, and I don't know whether he'd know them all to be able to communicate with all of them.
Emotionally disciplined.
Yes, but
has he got, as they put here, fire in the belly but ice in the brain?
I'd say he's probably emotionally disciplined, but I don't think he ever shows off his emotion that much.
No,
he's not so passionate. You wouldn't put him up there with like the major league.
Knows the players. Don't really know. We don't really know that. That's difficult for us to.
Yeah, you can't really tell, but I'd imagine yes.
Yeah, I mean, it says here that he or she, yeah, true, he or she should observe players both on and off the field in order to learn the best to deal with them. Self-confident. Well, he's self-confident.
He is confident. He'll be confident.
Yeah, they say he's having a downer, but at the moment, but I don't think it's because he doesn't believe in himself. No. Okay, next Aston Villa is, of course, Grealish. So, is he a decent captain, do we think? Is he mentally strong, excellent communicator? Does he lift the team, I suppose?
I'd imagine he definitely probably does.
Yeah.
I can't imagine he's a big talker. I can't imagine him shouting at people left, right, and centre. But I can imagine it's like the way he carries himself at training and on a match day sort of thing. I can imagine he would be good in terms of being a captain. But I can also imagine if you are an older person at Aston Villa, let's say you're a centre back at the age of 32, then he might be someone you could get a bit miffed with. I don't know whether that kind of makes sense, but because like young and like shows off a bit, maybe.
Yeah, but what you find is what he doesn't do is hold on to. Do you know the biggest complaints about him? I looked this up. Biggest complaints about Grealish. The two biggest complaints is one is he holds on to the ball too long, and the second is he passes the ball too quickly.
Yeah, no one really knows.
No.
I think I don't know whether in terms of a captain he's incredible, but I think in terms of a player he's incredible, which probably makes me a little bit biased. But I'd say he's probably a decent 7 or 8 out of 10 for being a captain. Yeah. Probably more a 7, but
Brighton, Lewis Dunk.
Not sure we can particularly tell, but from what in terms of a player, he's very good. But in terms of a captain, he's probably decent. But probably lacks a little bit to be a top club captain.
Burnley, Ben Mee.
Average.
Average. Now, whether this one, Chelsea's.
Azpilicueta.
Thank you.
I'll do that for you.
Yeah.
He's been at the club a very long time, and I think he always shows a lot of passion. He scored today, didn't he? So,
well, it's been they've thrown that armband around a bit, haven't they? At Chelsea, they never seem to make their mind up. In fact, didn't Frank hand it off to his favourite up front?
He did for the match. He did for the FA Cup game. Yeah. He gave it to Mount.
Yeah, and but that which seems very strange to pass it around, I must admit, and sort of give it to your favourite player rather than the boss in the team. Seemed very odd. Crystal Palace, Luka
Milivojevic.
Thank you. It's good you doing this.
I know. He's probably okay.
Yeah. They did have a bit of trouble with it when he wasn't on the pitch. They say they do miss him being on there. I think he'd probably be Okay, we see him,
Yeah,
you hear him.
he's decently passionate. Yeah,
He is. We can say we don't know, by the way. Just like
yeah.
Coleman is Everton's.
He's very passionate. I think.
Yeah, it says here
See a lot about him.
one of them actually put something up on not Facebook, but one of those. He is an example for all the others on how you need to be, his attitude, his spirit. Every day I've had a lot of captains in my career, but now he expresses his love for the shirt. Oh God, that
seems pretty decent.
He is our captain. Yeah. Fulham, Tom
Kearney.
Yeah.
He always seems to be a bit out of his depth in the Premier League. In the Championship, I really enjoyed watching highlights of him and stuff. Premier League always seems a little bit out of his depth.
Yeah.
Hence why he may not be as good a captain in the Premier League. Probably give him like a 5 or 6 out of 10.
Yeah. Well, this one's difficult because it's Liam Cooper for Leeds, and the reason why is he's missed so many games. So although he's still the team captain, he's rarely on the pitch, I think.
It's a bit like Bloomfield for Wycombe, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah. Leicester City is Wes Morgan.
He doesn't play.
He doesn't play either. So again, it's difficult to say. He is the club captain. And again, we can't really tell that. And now, of course, you're Henderson for Liverpool. Well,
they produce videos sometimes, Liverpool, of you being able to hear Henderson in the background of games. And watching the match just now, you can hear him 24/7. Like, it's ridiculous how much he shouts. I'm obviously going to be biased and say he's fantastic, but I'll let you make your own decision.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think he's pretty good. Fernandinho, City.
I wouldn't say
he's a new skipper this season, replacing David Silva.
Then I wouldn't have said David Silva's a particularly captain-like figure.
This is a funny one because I don't think he would be. You see,
Man City have always had a bit of a thing with, like, they had Company. Obviously, he's probably one of the biggest leaders in the Premier League. And
he was a leader. Yeah, this guy isn't, is he?
I wouldn't have said so. They've had De Bruyne as captain quite a lot as well, and De Bruyne's not a captain. I wouldn't have said.
Well, he's too emotional, isn't he?
He's also very emotional.
I mean, the other day with Gabriel, when Gabriel missed one of his sitters, he had a go at him. I mean, he was angry. And you can't do that. You can't do that. You should be patting him on the back saying, don't worry, next time. The trouble is with Gabriel, next time he misses it again. Maguire. Now, here's your interesting one. I'll give you back in August. Okay, so I know that was a few months ago now. Harry Maguire played more minutes than any other player in the world this season.
Really?
Yeah.
I think this is probably one where we have to split between whether you're a good footballer and if you're a good captain. I can imagine he's probably quite a good captain. You can hear him. He's passionate.
Yeah.
He probably knows the players decently well. But what probably hinders him is the fact that he is crap at football. So he's...
Oh, no, I think he can pass that ball sideways when nobody's standing there.
And he can let Sheffield United do what they want in their box. But
there is that. Yeah. Doesn't like, yeah.
But I can imagine he's a decent captain.
Doesn't get emotional during the game.
I suppose he's not actually that emotional, is he?
He's not.
Is he that passionate?
Passionate.
He probably is, but he doesn't really show it.
Newcastle. Jamal Lascelles. Yeah,
okay. He's been out with COVID a lot this season.
Yeah,
but he has been one of their star performers.
He came back, wasn't he, for this game? Yeah, he came back. The game they won.
Mm.
In fact.
Yeah, I think he's pretty good from what I've seen. He's been one of their star performers over the last 2 or 3 seasons. I think he shows off a lot of his character and brings everyone up.
Yeah, I think he'd probably be good. Sheffield United, Billy Sharp.
He's old, doesn't really play too much, I can imagine.
No, I don't. No,
I don't like the idea of strikers as captains.
not at all. Not at all.
It's never really made much sense. Like Kane for England doesn't really make too much sense.
Oh well, no. James Ward
Prowse,
Southampton.
I mean, having a fantastic season in terms of scoring and being creative for Southampton. In terms of a captain,
I think he'd be pretty good, actually.
I think he'd be decent, yeah.
Yeah, I think you can see him on the pitch. You can see him taking sort of, the dealing with the referee when need be, and I think it
always says something when a young player, because he's like 24, isn't he? When they get the armbands in the Premier League team, because it's very easy just to go give it to one of your centre backs, but they actually gave it to a young English guy. I think that probably says a lot. I think he's decent.
Yeah. Tottenham, Hugo Lloris.
Average.
Can't see that myself.
I don't think I can really say too much, but I can't imagine he's great as a captain.
No, I can't see that myself. I don't know.
If you're a new player going into Tottenham and you've got the Reece kind of showing you about, trying to make you feel comfortable, I can't imagine he's great at doing that sort of thing.
I think this one would be all right for West Brom. Jake Livermore.
Really? Because he gets very emotional, or has done in the past.
I think West Brom probably need it, don't they?
They probably do need that, yeah.
Yeah, I know that you don't. But if they were any good, maybe you'd pick somebody else. Mark Noble for West Ham.
I've always found him as a player as being a bit of a drag anyway.
Yeah. I don't think they need him.
But he doesn't play too much anymore. They normally give the armband to Rice now.
Yeah, I know it's not to do with how good you are on a football pitch, whether it makes you a good captain.
But it does help.
It does help that you've got to be better than.
Yeah.
So at least some of them. Well, Wolves, their club captain is Connor Cody.
I think he's very good.
Yeah, I can imagine him being all right.
The way he conducts himself.
I don't know where Brighton ended up.
We talked about Brighton.
Yes, we did. Yeah. Well, Connor Cody is the last one, and I think he would be okay as well. I think,
the way he conducts himself in interviews and everything, you can tell he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. So they're our captains. So overall, we rate. Pretty.
They're all decent.
There's one or two we don't. One is we don't like strikers as captains. Don't think they're in the best position on the field. I mean, you can't spend your time turning round to tell people. I mean, they're not going to come into contact with it really does need either a back line or midfield, doesn't it? It does.
I don't like the idea of the main goal scorer of your team also being the captain. Something about it just seems a little bit off to me.
Right. Well, again, Jesus would be good then, wouldn't he?
So
he don't score.
Yeah, because he doesn't score. You love Jesus, don't you?
No. I did want to do something about him on how many goals he doesn't score. But I think we might save that for next week, mainly because I think Manchester City need a goal scorer. And this is why, because the top of the table, the way it's looking today, is that you have Manchester City sat at the top, followed by Manchester United, followed by Liverpool. Okay, there's 4 points between Liverpool and City, although City have a game in hand. But these are the next 6 matches for Manchester City, and they need a goal scorer. Okay. Now, Jesus has only scored 4 goals this season, I believe. So, and he's missed tons.
Yeah.
Here we go. They've got Burnley, Liverpool, Tottenham, Arsenal, West Ham, Manchester United.
It's a tough run.
That's the tough run. This is Liverpool's. Brighton, Manchester City, Leicester, Everton, Sheffield United, and Fulham. Now, methinks City need a goal scorer, and I just don't think they've got one. And I think they could be in trouble. De Bruyne is not there. They can't rely on him for passing and creating.
They only beat Sheffield United 1-0 yesterday, didn't they?
They did.
Which ain't great.
They thought that was their toughest match this season, didn't they? And I do think they're going to find that difficult without that person that suddenly, wang, bang, the ball goes in the net.
Yeah.
He just isn't the guy for it. He looks like he knows he's missed before he kicks the ball. It's in his face. He doesn't believe it himself. And I don't know why that is. I really don't. But he doesn't. And just on a goal scoring point, fullbacks, I mean, listening to the Liverpool thing with Trent, with the pass, followed by the pass, followed by the goal.
Yeah.
From the beginning of last season, the most productive fullbacks in the Football League come in top with 15 goals and 6 assists was
Jacobson.
Sorry?
Jacobson
for Wycombe.
Yeah.
Coming second with 5 goals and 16 assists was Trent. And coming third with 3 goals and 17 assists was
Robertson.
There you go. 1 Wycombe, 2 Liverpool. And in fact, Robertson and Trent swapped being second and third in their last match.
Yeah. Trent hasn't got assists for a while now, actually.
No.
Has played. He's played very well the last 2 games, though, in saying that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Liverpool, that Manchester United match has done them a world of good, even though they lost. They've pulled it together. Okay, then, Kieran. Results. We didn't do a results, did we? The last one, or did we?
No,
we
think we did actually.
So let's have a look at the games coming up.
So we're not doing this weekend's. Okay.
This weekend. What do you mean? We didn't.
I can't remember if we did, to be honest. We'll go through the ones that are coming up. There's a whole list of midweek fixtures, so we may as well just do those.
Yeah.
The first being Sheffield United versus West Brom. That sounds like fun.
Sam Allardyce.
I don't know, actually.
Sheffield United have a problem. Of course they do, because they're at the bottom, but so do West Brom.
West Brom scored 2 in the last game. Sheffield United didn't, but they only conceded 1 to City. I think it's one of those. It's towards the bottom, and you just can't tell. It could go either way. I'll say West Brom, but I don't know.
I'm going to say a draw.
There's probably a better prediction, but I just thought I should go for someone.
Yeah.
Wolves, Arsenal. Arsenal look pretty good recently.
They do, don't they?
Wolves don't.
Do. Why is that? Do you think? I mean, do you know, Bang Yang, is can't even I know he's not been around, but they're not even sure they're going to find him a place,
No.
Because Pepe has so much improved. And you know what? It's because where he's playing. He's playing in the right place now. And he's so much improved that can you leave him out?
Well, the introduction of who's it, Smith Rowe and Saka when they brought them two in against, I think it was Chelsea when they twatted them 3-0 or something.
Yeah.
Ever since then, they've just had Smith Rowe and Saka, and they've been playing ridiculously well.
You can't. See, I think they'd be stupid to mess around with it.
Yeah, there's no need to. There's no problem at the moment.
I think you've got to leave him out until, unless. But you've got to say Arsenal. I mean, Wolves are having a nightmare, aren't they?
They're not great at the moment, are they? So yeah, I completely back it. Man United Southampton, that could be interesting. United's got a lot of criticism this weekend.
They did, didn't they? Again,
probably rightfully so, considering they went to Liverpool last week and didn't do any, or 2 weeks ago didn't do anything.
Sheffield,
then Sheffield's, and then Arsenal. Southampton. The only reason I could say United is because they're at home and they do okay at home. But then they just lose to Sheffield United.
They haven't been given a free penalty for a while.
No, I want to back Southampton, but something tells me that it is going to be United. Unless United are on one of those runs where they are cocking it up again.
Well, I've watched a few of their games out of those three. I think I've seen 2 out of 3. And I have to say, I know I'm biased, but I think Rashford is crap. He just doesn't know where to go. And the thing he's good at, if you put the ball at his foot and say, go over there, then he'll run with the ball over there. But apart from that, that's it. I mean, is that enough? Well, it depends what you need him to do during the game, and it depends what everybody else is up to. And it's like Pogba. I mean, the whole attitude is I will play well if we're winning, isn't what you need. You need him to play well when you're not winning. And it's that mentality at Manchester United that I think means they will not win the league. You can't have players that only play well if you're winning.
There just seems, whenever they're not winning, there just seems to be a lack of spark or lack of energy, just anything. They just look...
No fight back.
No, it doesn't. It's not like they're not trying. It's just like there's no real emphasis for them to go and try.
No. I mean, the daft thing is, the enthusiasm and the fight in Wycombe sat at the bottom of the championship being slaughtered. I've got more hope for us in our next game than I have in Manchester United's next game.
Even though one wins a lot and one doesn't win at all.
Yeah. Isn't that strange? And it's because it's their mentality that they're lacking, isn't it? I think they need a psychotherapist.
Psychologist.
That's the one. Either that or a decent night out, maybe. But they need something, don't they? They need a bomb put underneath them.
Wow. Something to make them kick.
Yeah. And they just rely on winning to get them going. It's the wrong way round. And that often ends up being if Fernandez scores a free kick.
Well, that's why when they do go on a losing run, their losing runs are really bad because they're not winning. And they continuously go on for a good 4 or 5 games where they just lose to really crappy teams.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened for a long time, in all fairness to them, but don't know whether it could be happening now. Well,
I'm going to give that to Southampton.
I want to back Southampton. Yeah. Next is Newcastle Crystal Palace.
Newcastle won a game.
They did.
They've got a striker up front.
I think it's quite a tough one to predict, to be honest. I reckon it'll be quite a
Palace
high-scoring draw.
Didn't they? They both won their last match.
Eze scored again. I think it'll be 2-2 or something, maybe even 3-3. I think it's high-scoring draw, that one.
I think Crystal Palace will win that. There's enough in Crystal Palace to their Newcastle's defence. I think, and old Shelby just looks like he takes up space. He's on there. Well, he's on there to take corners and free kicks, not to play football. And they hope he kicks a long ball once in a while. Apart from that, he's got an awful habit of watching. And I think in that midfield, he takes up a space that Crystal Palace will fill. And I think that'll be enough.
Fair. As I say, I think I'll go for a draw.
Burnley. It's interesting to note, by the way, that Bournemouth are doing so bad, and Newcastle have won a game since the Bournemouth guy, who's the trainer guy, has left Bournemouth and gone to Newcastle.
You think that's the reason why, do you?
Yeah, that's my theory. He's telling Newcastle players how to kick a football.
So it's not as hard as it looks, is it?
Yeah.
Burnley versus Man City.
Yeah, all right. Move on.
Yeah. Fulham, Leicester. Leicester lost to Leeds today.
No, you can't. Yeah, Fulham. And Fulham had so many chances. I've watched them play.
You mean against Brighton?
Yeah, against Brighton. And it was a laugh. It was so good because both teams were desperate at the back, had a real fight up front, but couldn't kick the ball straight. And so it was end-to-end football, and the only thing that they couldn't do was score a goal. I'm sure if they moved the goal one way or the other and didn't tell them, some of those would have gone in. If you give them funny glasses, so they can't see where they're kicking it.
Well, funnily enough, if you do put the goal where the ball is going, then it will go in.
Yeah, which is always slightly to the left or right.
Funnily enough. But in saying that, Leicester don't have Vardy.
No, so it's going to be Fulham.
I do expect Leicester to win, but
I want Fulham to
potentially be a draw or win.
I want Fulham to win, so they put Brighton down.
Oh, fair. Yeah, Brighton are a bit dead.
Yeah.
Leeds versus Everton. That could be quite good, to be fair. I'd probably expect Everton. I think they'd go there a bit more professionally than maybe some other teams would. I think Ancelotti will know what Leeds are going to try and do.
I don't think Leeds will win.
No. I can't expect. It's not. I don't think it'll be a high-scoring Leeds team.
It'll be a 1-0 Everton job, won't it?
Yeah, that's what I'd imagine. Yeah, Ancelotti won't bowl that. Although in saying that, they did lose to Newcastle, so who the flip knows. Aston Villa versus West Ham. Well, obviously I've just watched West Ham and they looked very average. They didn't do anything.
No.
Apart from try to capitalise on the mistake of our centre-back Phillips, who was final game. They didn't really offer anything apart from that.
Corners, they messed the corners up, really. That was their biggest opportunity, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they scored one, but that was because of a catalogue of errors from Liverpool. But yeah, they didn't really go for them too well. Aston Villa, I really like Aston Villa, but then West Ham have been doing decently as well. Could be a high-scoring Villa win, I'd say. I always back Grealish.
I'm gonna stick with West Ham. I've usually said that they'll win, and they usually have. So I will stick with West Ham.
According to you, West Ham should be top of the table, shouldn't they?
They're not far off.
They're not far off. They're not far off. Neither Villa, to be fair.
No. What a strange season it's been. Good, isn't it?
Well,
I mean, we've disagreed on quite a few of these, and that's good.
Yeah,
I like that.
We don't normally do that, to be fair.
No.
Liverpool, Brighton. Well, I hope we win. Based off our last two performances, we should probably batter them. But we're at home, and Brighton will park the bus.
Liverpool will not now have a problem. They've played that United game. They've just played another two teams and pulled it out of the bag. They're scoring.
They are scoring. And the right people are scoring as well.
Yeah. All three of them have scored, your forwards.
Yeah.
They've all picked up the goals. Wait, is Mane going to be back?
He's supposed to have a very minor thing.
Right.
So that should be okay. But then I would quite like one of the centre-backs to be back for at least Man City next Sunday.
Yeah.
If it's Phillips and Henderson, we'll have a lot of trouble. We do need Fabinho or Matip at least. Or Ben Davies from Preston.
Ben Davies from Preston, yeah.
Whoever the flip he is, sorry.
He's worth a few million, isn't he?
Well, apparently he's out of contract to the end of the season, but I imagine they know Liverpool's situation, don't they?
Yeah.
And they can ask for a bit more.
Yeah.
And the last game is Tottenham-Chelsea. Chelsea absolutely dominated Burnley today. Burnley didn't have a shot.
Here we go. I mean, I'm gonna back this new manager to start with. I mean, he hasn't lost a game yet. Look at it that way.
He's played 2.
Yeah. And let's make it 3. When new managers come in, it usually ups the team. This team, they're all probably worried out of their what's-its that because as soon as a new manager comes in, you don't know whether you're ever going to play football again. And you get given 10 minutes and you'll run their what's-it.
To be fair, I probably will say Chelsea. I think Jose looks a bit unhappy at the moment. Hence why I think his team won't play very well.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
So I will go Chelsea.
Okay. Is that it?
I think so.
Right. And just the last games, I've put 2-1 for Wycombe to beat Birmingham.
Let's hope.
Yeah. Okay. And so I'll thank you, everybody. I'll stop recording that and hope you enjoyed that. And see you again next week.